Good morning, San Luis Obispo. I've wanted to do that for a long time. It's so fun. Thanks for having me here this morning. I am the founder of Terra Verde Environmental Consulting. I'm a Cal Poly graduate and a longtime resident of San Luis Obispo County. I'm also the immediate past president of our local land trust, the Land Conservancy of San Luis Obispo County. And as you might guess, I'm passionate about conservation. So that's why I'm so excited to share a little bit of information about a new species of spineflower that was discovered by one of our botanists, Kristen Nelson, who's also a Cal Poly graduate. There's a theme. As you know, the city of San Luis Obispo added to their extensive green belt when they acquired the Waddell property in 2017. The city does a great job of managing their open space, and they wanted to know more information about the resources there. So they hired Terra Verde to study the wildlife and the plants to better inform their management decisions. During our surveys, Kristen and another of our botanists, Amy Golub, were hiking along recording the plant species they were seeing when they saw an unusual plant. And at first glance, Kristen thought it was another rare plant, Corazanthe breweri. And I want you to imagine for a minute, it's a warm spring day. You've been hiking in rugged conditions all day long. You're on this rocky serpentine outcrop, and you're looking at tiny little plants. Tiny plants measuring sometimes just 1 inch in height. Pretty challenging, but Kristen saw this plant and knew that something was a little bit different. As a trained botanist, she knew that she had to key the plant. And keying the plant meant taking a part of it back to the office and studying it under a microscope because it's so small. Kristen could not get the plant to match any known species of spineflower. It was then that she suspected she had something new. So she took it to the Cal Poly herbarium and asked our past professor and known botanical expert, Dr. David Keel, to take a look. Kristen relayed the excitement of her discovery when Dr. Keel asked for her middle initial, indicating there was a scientific paper in her future. From there, Kristen and Dr. Keel gathered a group that included myself, Bob Hill, the city's natural resource manager, Drs. Jen Yost and Matt Ritter from Cal Poly, and Cal Poly student Kyle Neeson. We hiked up to the area where Kristen found the plant, and we documented the extent of it, described the habitat and the other species that occurred there. Kristen and Dr. Keel then embarked on the long process of writing a species account and submitting it to a peer-reviewed scientific journal, Madrono. Once the species account was reviewed and published, it was now deemed official, Corazanthe afinantha. So to give you a taste of how this was determined and the things that Kristen had to see that were different, I want to read you this short excerpt from Madrono. The Irish Hill spineflower is distinguished from C. breweri, with which it co-occurs and may be confused, particularly as it ages, by its compact rather than sprawling habit. The green rather than red color of its herbage at the time of flowering. Its much smaller white monomorphic perianth lobes rather than white to pink dimorphic lobes, right? Bracts with straight ascending rather than recurved spine tips. Smaller and smooth rather than transversely corrugated mature involucres, and basal leaf blades that are glabrous to minutely strigose, thin and ovate to elliptic, occasionally mucronate, with obscure veins rather than thick, leathery, reniform, and apically notched, plus or minus obcordate with pronounced veins. Thank you. It goes on. One interesting part of this process is that Kristen had the honor of naming the species, and the standard for this selection is to choose a name that reflects a person who has contributed significantly to science, an area that reflects the species, or a unique feature. She chose Irish Hill spineflower to reflect its location and the Latin species designation of afinantha, which means invisible or unseen, referring to the plant's tiny, inconspicuous flowers. It's been a very exciting find for all of us, and I feel like it really highlights the importance of conservation. This particular piece of conserved land allowed us to learn more about the biodiversity of our amazing community and I think provides hope in a world that can be dominated by so much negativity and uncertainty in the face of climate change. Thanks.